College.
Former Congressman Michael McNulty will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please remain standing for our opening prayer. Brooke Albert will lead us in prayer. Amen. Please be seated. Good morning. I'm Peter K. Goebel, the Director of the Rensselaer County Veterans Service Agency. We've gathered here this morning to honor a deceased Rensselaer County veteran for the month of September, and that veteran is Arthur T. Judge. We are honored to have with us this morning his family members, daughter and son-in-law Elizabeth and Joe Simonek, daughter and son-in-law Pat and Mike Murphy, daughter and son-in-law Kathy and Mike Stallmer, son and daughter-in-law Art and Peggy Judge, and granddaughter Alexis Kim. Thank you for being here. Also with us today to honor our Veteran of the Month are Rensselaer County Executive Steve McLaughlin, Rensselaer County Court Judge Deborah Young, representing Congressman Paul Tonko, Colleen Williams, representing Congressman Antonio Delgado, Max Prime, former Congressman Michael McNulty, New York State Assemblyman Jake Ashby, Rensselaer County Legislative Chair Mike Stammel, Rensselaer County Legislative Vice Chair Kelly Hoffman, Rensselaer County District Attorney Mary Pat Donnelly, representing the Commander of the Waterfleet Arsenal, Colonel Earl Schoenberg, is Mr. Matt Day, and Rensselaer County legislators Dan Casal, Mark Fleming, Tom Grant, and Carol Weaver. As we are all well aware, Memorial Day and Veterans Day are special days to remember all of our veterans. This program was created to help us honor our veterans all year round. To us here in Rensselaer County, every day is Veterans Day. The Rensselaer County Honor a Deceased Veteran Program represents veterans organizations throughout the entire county. This includes members of the American Legion, Disabled American Veterans, Veterans of Lansingburg, Military Order of the Purple Heart, Marine Corps League, Veterans of Foreign Wars, Korean War Veterans, Tri-County Council of Vietnam-Era Veterans, Combat Veterans Motorcycle Association, Vietnam Veterans of America, AMVETS, and the Rensselaer County Veterans Service Agency. I will now ask Mike Stammel, Rensselaer County Legislative Chair, and the assembled county legislators to come forward to tell us about our honored veteran for the month of September, Arthur T. Judge.
Thank you, Peter. Good morning, everybody. Thank you all for being here. It's a great day, and it's always great to have the opportunity to honor our vets, especially with the COVID strife that we've gone through in the last couple of months, which has really put a damper on this program for everybody's safety. But we are glad and happy to continue this process and honor our veterans as they should be, like Peter said, every day. Good morning. My name is Michael Stammel. Welcome everyone to our Honor of the Month Deceased Veterans Ceremony. The Rensselaer County Legislature has a rich tradition of honoring the service of the veterans with programs in our Hall of Heroes as you pass through before entering our chambers. Today, after the services, we will be adding a plaque to the wall honoring the Hall of Heroes. The plaques will have the names of those veterans that we honor last year before the pandemic and put the ceremonies on hold. Well, we are all glad to be back, and we are honored to be able to celebrate the life and the service of Arthur T. Judge, Sr., I guess, to make sure. Okay. All right, of Troy. Arthur was born in Troy of July 27, 1920. He was one of 6 children born to Arthur and Catherine Morrissey Judge. Arthur grew up in Troy and attended St. Mary's Elementary School, and was graduated from Catholic Central High School in 1937. After graduating, Arthur began working as a metal chipper before enlisting in the U.S. Army on March 11, 1943. 7 days later, he began his active service at Camp Upton in New York. On January 8, 1944, Private Arthur Judge arrived in the European Theater as part of Company C, 204th Engineering Construction Battalion. This combat engineering unit was a highly skilled group of soldiers that would quickly build bridges, clear areas of amphibious landings, and other construction services. They also took on dangerous responsibilities as deactivating explosive charges and unexploded munitions. As part of the responsibility to support the frontline troops, this battalion would also operate high-caliber defensive machine guns, anti-tank rockets, grenade launchers, and any other equipment as needed to support the mission. During his service, Sergeant Judge participated in the Normandy Campaign, the Northern France Campaign, and was a veteran of the Battle of the Bulge. The Battle of the Bulge was one of the deadliest battles that began on the morning of December 16, 1944. The Germans achieved a total surprise attack, and our American forces bore the brunt of the assault and incurred their highest casualties of the entire operation during the war. Nearly 2 months after the end of the war, Sergeant Arthur T. Judge was honorably discharged from the United States Army at Fort Dix, New Jersey on October 31, 1945. For his brave service, for his brave service to our nation, Sergeant Judge was awarded the European African Medal of Eastern Campaign Medal with a Silver Service Star, the World War II Victory Medal, the Good Conduct Medal, Sharpshooter's Medal, and the Honorable Service Lapel Pin. Sergeant Judge returned back to Troy, continued his education at Russell Stage College, before starting his career in the United States Post Office in 1947. A few years later, after Arthur would marry Elizabeth Campbell on June 19, 1949, they raised 5 children: daughter Kathleen, Elizabeth, Patricia, and Maureen, and 1 son, Arthur Jr. Arthur worked his way up to a substitute clerk, from a substitute clerk to a clerk in charge of the foreman of the mails, before being appointed acting postmaster in 1956. Arthur was appointed postmaster of Troy. Big job, big job. New York. At 36 years old, Arthur was the youngest person to hold a position at that time. During his time at the post office, Arthur served as president of the Troy local chapter of the United Federation of Postal Clerks and was a member of the National Association of Postal Supervisors and National Association of Postmasters. Arthur retired from his post office service in 1972 and was later appointed to the Troy Assistant City Assessors in 1975. He served in this position for 11 years and retired in 1986. Arthur and his family attended Our Lady of Victory Church. He was an active member of the Reverend Francis A. Kelly Disabled American Veterans Chapter number 38 and the Noble Callahan American Legion Post, the First Friday Club of Troy, and the Public Service Division of the United States United Fund Campaign of the Mohawk-Hudson area. Arthur's hobbies included golfing, studying history, visiting the Saratoga race course, attending parades, and dabbling in Troy politics. Arthur would also have been proud to see his son also dabble in Troy politics and get elected to the Troy City Council in 2001. Sadly, Arthur was passed away in September 29, 1988. He left behind his wife and his children and their families, and his grandchildren, Joseph Simnick, Stephanie Simnick, Michael Stallmer, Megan Brunt, Michael Murphy, Brian Murphy, Megan LeBurge, Megan Voltz, Carrie Judge, Joseph Judge, Brian Kim, Alex Kim, Olivia Kim, and Isabel Kim. Arthur Judge was a member of what is now called the Greatest Generation. Americans who suffered through the Great Depression, lived through and fought through World War II, and worked tirelessly to rebuild the country, create economic growth, and end poverty by creating opportunities for fellow Americans. From his service record, he learned that Arthur fought in some of the most challenging conditions and some of the bloodiest battles. And like many veterans of this time, he was probably many experiences he had that he never talked about. Today we remember Arthur T. Judge Sr., and we thank his family for allowing us to honor his life and service here today. Thank you. Would you like to say something? No? You want to add anything? Anybody want to add anything? No? Okay. So with this, we'd like to, as far as the Rensselaer County Legislature goes, we would like to pass on this proclamation, which pretty much says everything that I just read, and we'd like to provide this to the family of Arthur T. Judge Sr. Thank you.
I will now ask our Rensselaer County Executive, Steve McLaughlin, to come forward.
Thank you, Peter. Good morning, everybody. Pleasure to be with everybody today. Just after 9/11, it's a great time to gather and honor somebody from the greatest generation, and to be with all my colleagues in government here at the local, state, federal level. Former Congressman McNulty, who was instrumental in getting this ceremony going, which has been picked up by many other counties around the area and around the state. And Tom Walsh, former legislator here, still fits in his uniform, which is amazing. But you know, it's amazing to read this. There's a great family. I mean, all these names on this proclamation are well known throughout Rensselaer County. Certainly, many important families on here. And Art Judge, I was telling the family, my dad was a mailman. My mom was a postmaster, so I know that postal family life. And but you look at what he did in such a really short time as a young guy. I mean, really in about a little over a year and a half in some major theaters of operation in World War II as part of that greatest generation. And getting through any one of those, being lucky enough to survive any one of those was incredible. But when you look at Normandy and then the Rhineland campaign, the Ardennes campaign, which is the Battle of the Bulge, Central European campaign, pretty amazing that he got through it. And I'm sure, as Mike was saying, that he probably came home and didn't talk much about it. None of that generation seemed to. They just came home and he took off that uniform, put on a different uniform, postal uniform, went to work every day and raised a family. That's just what that generation did. And we sure could use more of that right now. And we were lucky, Jake Ashby and I and Deb Young, we were up in, and Dan Casal was up there with us as well, up at Grafton State Park yesterday for Bill Shorter Day, another veteran of the Battle of the Bulge in Normandy. So you wonder if they ever ran into each other over there back then. But another local guy who came home and just, you know, did great things. So we're lucky to have that greatest generation, and it's something to emulate. And we sure could use a little of that right now. But it just our honor to be able to honor Art for his service, not only to the country, but to the county and the city and his entire community. And he certainly raised a great family. So thank you for letting us honor him today.
I will now ask Colleen Williams, representing Congressman Paul Tonko, and Max Prime, representing Congressman Antonio Delgado, to come forward.
Thank you, Peter. And thank you to Peter and Lonnie and for the entire team with the Rensselaer County Veteran Service Agency for all you do for all of our Rensselaer County vets each and every day. Good morning, everyone. It's an honor to join with all of our colleagues in state and local government, with our veterans. We appreciate the opportunity to gather with you every month. And of course, most importantly, to the family of Arthur Judge. It is such an honor to be here with you on behalf of Congressman Paul Tonko, who unfortunately could not be here today as he is on legislative business in Washington, D.C. But he asked that I come here this morning to extend his appreciation and his gratitude for the service of your loved one. As the county executive said, it's incredible to read through the biography of Arthur and to see his true and deep commitment to country and community, serving as part of that greatest generation, and then coming home to serve his community again with the U.S. Postal Service. Truly someone who loved people, who loved his family, and who loved his country. And on behalf of Congressman Tonko, and I know my colleague from Congressman Delgado's office would like to say a few words as well, but on behalf of Congressman Tonko, I have here a flag that has been flown over the United States Capitol in honor of Arthur Judge, a small token of appreciation from Congressman Tonko and Congressman Delgado for the service of Arthur Judge, and just one small way that we as federal officials can say thank you to those of the greatest generation who gave so much to all of us so that we can continue to lead the lives that we all do and enjoy the freedoms that we do each and every day.
Thank you for having us here today to honor Arthur Judge. And Congressman Delgado similarly, unfortunately, couldn't make it today, but did ask me to attend on his behalf to extend those same sentiments of thanks and gratitude for Arthur Judge's service, and not only to or in the military in World War II, but on the home front as he came back to serve his community in a variety of capacities. My grandfather was a veteran of World War II. He landed on Omaha Beach, froze off his tips of his ears at the Battle of the Bulge, so I know from him the sacrifice that was given there, and so I know I appreciate your relative service, and I know the congressman does, and is thankful for people like Arthur. And thank you so much, and I do have a letter from him here to extend to you on his behalf. Thank you so much.
I will now ask New York State Assemblyman Jake Ashby and New York State Assemblyman John McDonald III to come forward.
It's my month to go first, so good morning, everybody, and it's a pleasure to be here. And to the family, thank you. What I love about these events is we get to learn a little bit more of the character of the individuals who really served our country so well. And admittedly, it's probably not as easy as it looks like on print. The reality is they came back, Arthur came back and made a huge contribution to society and our community. His postmaster experience is remarkable, and at his young age to have that responsibility. Although I will say this, I think the campaigns that he served in our country prepared him from these two little items I pulled off the list. One was being the assistant city assessor, which is a thankless job. And dabbling in Troy politics is a full contact sport. So I definitely think that obviously his service to his country, which was critical and important, prepared him for these little side hobbies he liked to do as well. So in all sincerity, thank you. You know, we are blessed in this country to have great individuals who've just taken and stopped their lives to serve our country so well, and Arthur Judge Sr. was one of them.
Good morning. Thank you to Colonel Goebel. Great to see Congressman McNulty and Colonel Walsh here as well. Rensselaer County always does such a great job in honoring our veterans. And I had the opportunity to talk with the family a little bit this morning, sharing some perspective in terms of combat engineers and their role. And you know, one of the things that was exchanged was really just trying to imagine the level of destruction and being able to build on that in a rapid way, the way that those engineering battalions did throughout Europe. And I had a similar thought that John did when he came back, being able to do that in politics in Troy. So one of the roles of the combat engineers while you're there, and I experienced this in my time in the military too, is a route clearance package. So the combat engineers would go forward and they'd clear routes and roads of explosives, right? And so I'm sure, and having to fend off, you know, attacks while you do that as well. So I'm sure that experience borne out well when he returned home, but also the ability to build and lead. And when you look at this family and, you know, the full 2-page bio that was included this morning, the list of accomplishments professionally and personally when he came back, you could really get a sense of the value that his family played in his life and really what it meant to him. So on behalf of myself and my colleague John McDonald, we have a certificate here from New York State Assembly.
Tim Forbes from the Rensselaer County Honor Deceased Veteran Committee will present the committee plaque at this time. Will the committee members please stand? Please stand for the closing prayer. Amen. Retire the colors.
Retrieve colors.
Please join us for our next Honor Veterans ceremony scheduled for Tuesday, October 12th, in honor of James H. Miner. Before we go our separate ways, we will take a few family photos, then we'll have our annual plaque unveiling outside this door in the Hall of Heroes. Then we will reassemble shortly after that at our county flagpole to raise the flag in Arthur's memory. This concludes our Honor Vet ceremony for this month. Thank you for coming to honor our deceased veteran. For the month of September, Arthur T. Judge.